Imagine this. You wake up tomorrow and every resource you need, finances, partnerships, ideas, even the right opportunities, begins to show up in your path. Not because you hustled harder, not because you scrolled longer, but because your entire life and business were aligned with something greater than just profit. That's not a fantasy. That's kingdom order. And when you put the kingdom first, it sets off a chain reaction in both the spiritual and the natural that literally filters what you see, how you decide, and what comes into your hands. Hi, I'm Raquel, your GPS for success. Let's get started. Welcome to One Breakthrough Now. This is a place where biblical wisdom meets neuroscience and practical business strategy. So you're not just dreaming about success, you're actually walking it out. And here's how each episode is going to flow. In the first half of the show, like what we're about to do now, I'll break down a principle for those of you who are just getting started. Maybe you're brand new to entrepreneurship, or you feel God nudging you out of corporate and you're asking, where do I even begin? Then in the second half, I'll bring the fire for those already building. We'll dig into how to scale, multiply, and unlock the next level. So why stick with me for the whole thing? Because no matter where you are in your entrepreneurial journey, principle is going to apply to you. And when you catch the full picture, you're going to see that God's way of doing business is not just spiritual, it's practical, it's repeatable, and it's going to shift your business in real time. So let's dive right in. Today's episode is called the Kingdom First Business Plan. And we're starting where all true business begins in Matthew 6, verse 33. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Notice what's not here. Stress, striving, scrambling, or compromise. Jesus didn't say seek first a strategy or seek first a profit margin. You're going to get a lot of advice about those two things, and that is not how kingdom works. I mean, it works if you want to do it that way, but the verse that's coming to mind is that God is giving us the power to amass, to create, to make money, right? To have wealth. And with it, there's no sorrow or painful toil with it. So if you want to do it that way, you can, it will work, but there will be sorrow, there will be toil. That's just the way it is. Our King said, seek first the kingdom. That's divine order. And if you're new to business, that should give you like a huge relief. You don't need every system figured out right now. You don't need to know every answer right now. You don't even need to see the whole staircase. A lot of times people are like, what are you going to do in 3 years? I don't know. That never works for me because I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes God doesn't tell me, and there's a good reason. I would probably try to do it without him. So for me, I don't know. I kind of have like some things way off in the future, but it's like way off in the future. But maybe that's just me. Probably not. All you need to do is know the first step, the next step that he wants you to do. The verse that's coming to mind is that do not despise small beginnings. We hear that, right? Especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur or God's calling you to that. And you're like, yeah, it's a small beginning. Don't despise it. But where's the power in it? The rest of the verse. People say that part and they don't give you the power. And the rest of the verse is the power because God delights in it. God delights when you take the next step, the baby step, the next step of faith that he's inviting you to. And that step is kingdom first. Now here is where it's going to get very practical. God gave you a superpower within your brain, and it's called the Reticular Activating System, which I will refer to it as the RAS. Now your RAS is like the filter for your mind. The RAS, that's what's going to decide what gets your attention. Because not everything is going to catch your attention. That's not true. It's not true. It's not the way you're wired to succeed. Could you imagine if everything was catching your attention? We would go crazy. So how do you train it? So that way it starts to see the things that you should be seeing. This is how it's happening by default, but you can do it by design. It's taken its cue by what you're focusing on. That's why this phrase about what you focus on expands. Literally, It expands in the opportunities. It expands in trying to make that happen because your reticular activating system, your RAS, is your filter. And then whatever you're focusing on, fear, worry, doubt, anxiety, the four bad horsemen or faith, what God is inviting you into, whatever you're focusing on, it's giving your inner filter that direction of go and look for it. What does this actually mean? If you're focused on fear or lack or comparison, which is a killer, right? It's terrible. Your RAS, the job of your RAS is to confirm what you believe, confirm what you're focusing on. So because you're focusing on those things that are not true, it will actually draw you into experiences to make it true for you. So what are you going to see practically? Doors closing, clients ghosting, other people succeeding. And they're like, maybe this wasn't God. It was God. But because you started to focus, and there's no shame here, a lot of times where there's awareness, I talked about that in season 1. When there's awareness, a lot of times, shame and guilt want to attach itself. Awareness, that trigger, it is just grace. It is a grace point for you. So when you have that awareness, like, oh, wait, am I actually the drama? Am I causing it and I'm calling it the enemy? Most of the times, it's not the enemy. It's our own brain that has been designed and functions to listen to us. It's doing its job. There's nothing wrong with you. Nothing has gone wrong. Most of the time, it is just your focus. So when you focus on the negative things of the I can't because, your brain will make you right. And then we're like, oh, I guess I didn't hear from God. I guess it wasn't meant to be. I guess the timing is not now. Does this sound familiar? I'm bringing you awareness because God has called you to the show because he wants you to build your business, because he's calling you into this honorable profession for a reason. And he wants you to set the foundations right, which is why this season I have bricks. We're setting down the foundation correctly. So what happens when you put the kingdom first? When you're focusing on God's vision for you, God's purpose for your business, your RAS then starts to filter the world differently. You'll find yourself in like synchronicities, the right opportunities, the right ideas, the right connections, they start to show up for you. And the thing is, it's already there because God has already planned your days out. It's already done. But when you don't recognize it because you're not focusing on it, because you haven't set the filter, you'll miss it. It could be right in front of you and you will miss what God is wanting to give you. He's already set you up for success. You'll find like you'll walk into the room and you'll end up meeting the right person. You can scroll like at 100 posts and then you'll be pulled to stop on something that actually gives you the answer. It feels supernatural because it is. And it's also neural. God has wired you for success and he has wired you to filter for his abundance when you're aligning with him. And you're already together. You're already aligned in him because you said yes to our King Jesus. So now let's make this super practical. If you're new to business or stepping out of corporate, you might be tempted to start like this. How can I make money fast? What should my pricing be? What's trending right now? Doesn't that all sound like wisdom? It's not. At least not in the kingdom way. That is actually the wrong place to start. You're building on sand when you build on that. Going back to what I said earlier, right? Where God has given us the power to amass wealth. And there's no sorrow attached to it. There's no painful toil attached to it. It doesn't mean we don't work. But there is a flow and a ease and a grace with it because we are flowing with his strategy. You can do it the other way, beloved, because you're grown. You can do what you want. God has brought you here because he wants you to lay the right foundation. So the kingdom first business plan is going to actually start with different questions. It'll start with questions like this. What purpose has God already placed in me? What vision burns so strongly that I'll do it even if I weren't paid yet? It's not like you're not going to get paid, right? But that helps you. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this even if I don't get paid initially, because that's how strong I'm being pulled toward this. Who am I called to serve? And what transformation am I called to bring? When your vision is clear, resources follow. Money follows purpose. Opportunity follows vision. And here's the beautiful part. You're not going to have to strive to chase them. They will start chasing you because you're aligned with divine order. Think about it like a GPS. If you don't know where you're going, you know, like kind of like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to land, but you don't know how to get there. What's going to happen? You're going to be driving around in circles. You're going to get lost. You're going to get frustrated. You'll go to places where you're like, how did I end up in this neighborhood? But once you set the destination, even if you miss an exit, the GPS will reroute you. And that's how the kingdom works. Purpose before profit sets your spiritual GPS. So here's what I would love for you to walk away with if you're new to the journey. Don't start with money. Start with mission. Don't stress over details. Seek first the kingdom. The details will come. Train your RAS to filter for God's opportunities, not fear's limitations. So how can you train your RAS, right? It's your focus. You can start with listening to songs that are empowering, that speak into what God has invited you to. You can do affirmations and declarations. You can do maybe your version of a vision board, and I'll talk about how I did them differently because vision boards really don't work for me, typical ones. And so I'm going to show you a hack on the other side of this segment. If vision boards have not been working for you, I found a hack. At least it works for me. So I'll share that in the next part of the segment. But again, your RAS is your filter. So what you're focusing on will expand. It's already happening by default. When you set your filter on purpose, you're setting your entire business and your mind on a path where resources are chasing you instead of you chasing them. That's exhausting anyway. Will it work? Yes. There's a price to pay. And since Jesus already paid the price for you, why are you paying another price? Doesn't make any sense when you say it out loud, does it? So in the second part of the segment, we're going to build on this. If you're already in business and you have some traction, how do you multiply? How do you scale without losing the kingdom first principle? And that's where we're headed next. I'll see you on the other side of this
Thank
short
you for
break.
watching Prospera TV Network. We hope you're enjoying the show. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
In the silence, a voice begins to rise. A gentle breeze that opens up our eyes. A whisper calling deep within the soul. An invitation, a story to unfold. When the noise fades away and the world stands still, we find the courage, the strength, and the will. We're saying yes to the whisper, yes to the light, stepping out of the shadows into the fight. Every word, every breath, a spark to ignite. We're saying yes to the whisper, shining so bright. Pages turn and the stories start to soar. Dreams we buried, now they're begging for more. Broken chains, the dawn breaks through the mist. 1,000 voices no longer resist. When the noise fades away and the world stands still, we find the courage, the strength, and the will. We're saying yes to the whisper, yes to the light, stepping out of the shadows into the fight. Every word, every breath, a spark to ignite. We're saying yes to the whisper, shining so bright. It's the voice of hope, it's the call to rise, a sacred promise, no more disguise. Together we speak, our stories align, each whisper a flame, a radiant sign. Yes to the whisper, yes to the call. We stand together, we rise, we stand tall. Every word we release, we set hearts free, saying yes to the whisper, that's who we choose to be. Shift happens right here, right now. I declare it, I wear it, I walk it out. From thought to word, from word to seed, I'm rewiring reality.
Welcome back. And if part 1 gave you the foundation, 2 is all about the fire. Because once you put the kingdom first and you start to clarify the vision that he gave you, question then becomes, how do I multiply this without losing alignment? There are just too many entrepreneurs who are building fast, but it ends up crumbling because they didn't set it on kingdom principles. But when you build it right, not only does it stand, it multiplies. Let's return to Matthew 6:33. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. All these things does not mean just enough, just barely enough. It means overflow. It's provision that's going to position you not only to meet your needs, but actually be a resource for other people, to multiply, impact, and expand God's work through your business. Since you're already in business, what is your next assignment? It is to move from survival mode to kingdom overflow. Remember the RAS, the filter of your brain? Once your focus is set to kingdom, your RAS is just not highlighting one opportunity. It starts to string them together. Think of it like a constellation. At first, you only see scattered stars. But once your filter is set, those stars connect into a pattern. And suddenly, the picture is clear. And this is where entrepreneurs actually start to get either overwhelmed or they step into flow. If your focus stays on kingdom vision, your RAS will start to just filter out the noise. So you see how distraction is actually not an issue anymore? It's not an issue once you decide what you're going to focus on, and then let your brain do the rest for you. Let your brain do the heavy lifting. It will start to highlight those opportunities that's actually going to multiply your impact, multiply your purpose, not just for profit. So here's how I've seen this in my own life. Vision boards, regular ones, don't really work for me. And even the AI ones, when I'm able to put myself in there, it doesn't really work for me. Maybe because I know, I don't know why, but for some reason it just didn't. And so I was in prayer and meditation one day, and then I thought, an idea came to me. Why don't I make an audio vision board? And so I did. I did 3 different versions. The first one is based on my first and middle name and like what it means in Hebrew. And I did like all this research. And the second one was on my last names. I'm Puerto Rican. As Latinos, we have more than one last name. And I was previously married, and I have that as my it's still my last name. And so I combined all of them together and created a vision board, right? Because as we talked about in season 1, how your name carries weight and what is God calling you. And so if you haven't seen it, go see it. It's really good. And then the third one was like this goal that I know God put in my heart. So what happened? The freakiest thing started to happen. After a few weeks of listening to those songs and what I did, I created it like in spoken word. People were actually echoing back the lyrics that I put about myself in those songs. Did it freak me out? Yes, because I'm like, ooh, I've heard that line before. Where have I heard that before? And then recognizing that it was actually a line in this one of the songs I created as my audio vision board. And then I realized what was happening. They were mirroring back to me what I was already embodying. My RAS has shifted. It was shifting my environment. And then suddenly opportunities to serve started popping up everywhere. It was conversations that I didn't expect and invitations that aligned with the vision that God had given me. That's multiplication with no toil, no sorrow attached to it. Not because I was hustling harder, but because I was aligning deeper. I'm never going back to basic affirmations again. Kind of kingdom embodied practice, it changed everything for me. And if you're scaling right now, or you're in the season of multiplication, these are some of the questions that you should be asking yourself. Are my offers aligned with purpose? Or are some distractions, even right distractions, are they distracting me because the possibility of making more money? Again, shifting away from kingdom purpose and looking at profits and strategy. So it's a distraction versus looking at what has God called you to. Is your offer reflecting what God said? Are my partnerships built on shared vision? Or are they just transactions? And you have to be very honest again, right? When you get triggered, it's good. Trigger just means grace. It's awareness for you. So it's a grace point. This isn't about shame or guilt. There's no condemnation here. But there has to be an awareness. Are your partnerships a shared vision, or are you just transactions? You're trying to get the money. You're trying to get the emails. You're trying to get something out of it. Has your focus shifted? Are my systems designed for overflow, or are they barely holding me together? And that's something that with the rise of AI, there's so many beautiful humans who've constructed apps and other things that can help you. Check your systems, because systems is like having, if you think about feminine and masculine energy, the systems is the masculine energy. It is creating this edifice for you so that you can be creative and innovative and flow. What are your systems? Are they designed for overflow? Kingdom order, it doesn't change when the numbers get bigger. Purpose still comes before profit. And I'm seeing this all the time. When I'm recording this, I am in the middle of producing an anthology, and I'm seeing this particular principle happen for my authors. They thought they were just coming in to share their story. And yes, that's part of it, because your story matters. Your story is someone else's breakthrough. Before the book has even been published, amazing things have been happening to some of the authors because they were aligning themselves with kingdom first, even in their storytelling. Doors started to open, new clients, new opportunities, new partnerships, podcasts, all kinds of cool stuff happening for them. But it started with the birth of their words. And even the things I was saying in the first part, right? Saying yes to what God is inviting them into, doing the next baby step. It happens with me in songwriting. Sometimes people give me their lyrics. They thought their words were just personal, but then I set it to music. And the same day it drops, it's actually connecting with people on a deeper level. And now their message is being sent out worldwide to people that they would never be able to reach. That's overflow. That's kingdom multiplication. Multiplication always follows order. Jesus took right? The loaves and the fish. He blessed them, he broke them, and as he released them, they got multiplied. The blessing and the breaking come before the multiplication. The same is true in business. When you bless what you have and you align it with God's order and release what doesn't belong, multiplication happens. And multiplication isn't about money, but your money will multiply. It's also about impact. It's about how many lives your work will touch, how many families will shift because of your faithfulness, because of your service. How many people are going to be able to see God because of the way you do business, because of the products, the services which you're offering to the world. The more you focus on kingdom aligned vision, the stronger those neural pathways become. Neuroplasticity is helping your brain wire faster, respond better, and sustain overflow without sabotage. I know a lot of people who know how to make money, they don't know how to keep it. And that's why you see entrepreneurs collapse under growth. They have not trained their minds to hold abundance. And a lot of times they're like, oh, it's your nervous system. You have to train your nervous system to hold abundance. First, you have to eventually, but the nervous system is following your mindset. Mind, will, emotions. Nervous system is under the emotions. God tells us that you will prosper and be in health as your soul. Your mind, always in order, divine order. Will, so you can push yourself a little bit when you need to, and emotions. And your emotions is following the mindset. Your emotions are a product of where you're focusing your thoughts. We went over a lot of that in season 1. When you are focusing on kingdom first, your brain starts to build capacity to carry what God is adding. Here are 3 kingdom first strategies for scaling. Audit your offers. Cut distractions. Even if they make money, they're going to drain purpose. Again, eventually, it will fall apart. Evaluate your partnerships. The wrong ones dilute your vision. The right ones, they're going to multiply it. Design for overflow. Build systems that can hold more clients, more revenue, more impact without breaking you. Here's the big picture. The Kingdom First business plan is not just theory. It's how you build. Seek the kingdom first, and then everything starts to be added to you. And if you're just starting, it means to align your vision before you start chasing profit. And if you're scaling, it means to align your operation so that you're multiplying from wholeness, not from hustle. Either way, the principle holds. And this is just a beginning, because next week, we're going to go deeper into you, the CEO behind the business. It's called the Prosperous Soul CEO. We'll explore how the health of your inner world directly shapes the health of your business, and why inner healing and mindset mastery are the true foundation for sustainable growth. You don't want to miss it. Until next time, may God's richest and best be yours. Bye for now.
This is your prosperity era, where dreams align with grace, abundance flows like rivers. You've stepped into your place. Rise, reign, and remember, you were born to shine. Welcome to your moment, Prospera, it's time.
We hope you enjoyed today's show on Prospera TV Network. Make it a point to visit us on YouTube and catch all your favorite shows anytime you want. Interested in hosting a show of your own? Or advertising your business on our network? Contact Elena Rodriguez.